What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for another review of Porsha's Family Matters, Ghosts of Porsha's Past. So we start off with the fight where we left off last week. And it was just pure total chaos and mayhem and confusion. And you couldn't figure out what was happening, who hit who got hit by who. It was just total chaos. I watched the scene multiple times trying to figure out where was the part where Dennis claimed Porsha was coming for his mother. And in the beginning, when the fight initially starts, you definitely see Mama Gina there, and then all of a sudden, Mama Gina's not there. So I don't know if she was whisked off somewhere, if she got trampled on, if she fell and never got back up. I have no idea. But at some point, she was there, and then she was gone. And all I could see was just people trying to pull Dennis away, Simon pulling Porsha away, and somehow Porsha got her hands on a some type of a stand, some type of production equipment stand. I don't know what it was, but it was this long black stick, and she was swinging it at whoever was in the way. I don't know if that's how Storm busted her lip, because Storm said that her lip was bleeding and her lip was busted at some point. It was just complete embarrassing confusion. And I clearly remember seeing Dennis telling Lauren, I think, because Lauren was trying to get him to just stop, and she was trying to get him to like calm down or something. And Dennis told her she came from my mother. So I didn't see that. I don't know. It was just too much confusion going on, too many bodies, too much going on. At some point, I even saw Londi. She had blood on, I don't know if it was her right boob or her left boob. There was a spot of blood on her. I don't know if that was her blood because she was scratched, or if that was someone else's blood, if that was Storm's blood. It was just chaos. So I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, where do we even go from here? So at some point, Aunt Liz, okay, so at some point, Simon was able to remove Porsha from the situation. So he's finally able to pull her away, and he's holding her down, and she's just screaming, he's touching my family, he's touching my family, alleging, or I'm assuming she's talking about Dennis putting his hands on someone. And Dom was standing on a chair, on a stool or something, and he was just like having some kind of an emotional breakdown. And then someone was telling him to get down. Now Dom was not directly involved with the fight. He was just standing on this chair, on a table or something, just watching what was going on, watching all the mayhem going on around him. And then someone told him to get down. Storm is saying that her lip is bleeding. And through all of this, somehow or another, the waiter was still serving drinks. The waiter was still serving drinks. There were a couple of people that sat down at the table, just to catch their breath. And the waiter shows up with a plate, or like a serving plate with drinks on it, and he's like literally serving people drinks. And I'm like, no sir, no sir, these people do not need any more alcohol. Please, 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 please take those drinks away. And Aunt Liz goes to Porsha, and she just starts praying over her. And this seems to really calm Porsha down. I don't remember what she was praying, but she was praying something about getting rid of the demons, make the demons go away from this family. I think that's what she was saying. And so that somehow was able to calm Porsha down. And Simon says that he was looking for Portia's other shoe, because she was missing a shoe, and there was glass everywhere, broken glass everywhere, and Simon didn't want her to cut her feet. This was just absolute craziness. And as things kind of, calmed down and people were starting to spread apart, and I think Porsha was leaving, Simon was leading her out. Porsha is just screaming that she wants Dennis arrested and she wants him locked up in a Mexican jail, him and his bitch ass mother. What kills me about stuff like this is that you can get into such a horrible, 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 horrible fight with people who are very close to you, a family member, friends, even coworkers, and then the next day y'all are acting like nothing even happened. The next day y'all are just moving on, and it's like, if we're gonna get to this point of just moving on eventually, why did we even fight in the first place? Why do people have to get hurt? Why do they have to talk about people possibly going to jail? People sometimes end up in jail after stuff like this. And then for us just to kind of go on like business as normal at some point, it's like, why even go through this just for business to go back to normal? But anyway, the next day is the last day of the resort. So in Lauren's confessional, she says that she feels like she failed everybody because this was her very first resort or very first trip, and she feels like, she just did a horrible job. Yeah, he did. Dom, he says that he's not even sure if he wants to be a part of this family anymore. Storm said that she thought it was going to be a shaman there. It was going to be like a peaceful trip, but that she ends up, in this melee and with dirt in her lace front. And Aunt Liz says that this family has gone backwards because they were doing well. They were slowly making progress, but now they've taken 10 steps back. And then Londi says that the family is more divided than it ever was. Porsha, she says that they were talking about the most traumatizing thing in her life, which was, the whole thing about Dennis cheating on her while she was pregnant with someone that worked at his restaurant. And this is what, she's trying to make herself kind of look like the victim, sort of like to justify why she acted the way she did. They were talking about, they brought up these horrible memories, which was your friend Dom. He was the one that brought this up. So let me say something about that. So obviously Dennis, what he did was wrong, cheating on Porsha while she was pregnant with someone that worked with him. Obviously that was a big no bueno. He shouldn't have done that. But for Dom to bring this up at the family dinner, because every time they come and sit down and eat, it's supposed to be a time of reflection, a time of camaraderie, a time of rejoicing, and just, let's all break bread together and get along for an hour and a half as a family. But then Dom wants to bring up, well, we were talking about Dennis and how he was cheating on you, and he's mad at me because I told you, and he said I shouldn't have told him. I shouldn't have told you that he was cheating on you. Why would you bring that up? So that kind of just started it all. So Porsha, that was your friend who kind of started all of this. Dennis was fine not talking about it. Dawn was the one that brought it up and stirred up all these emotions in you, and this is why we ended up where we ended up. So then Mama Gina leaves. Mama Gina, Dennis, and Dennis's work, his work, they leave. They take off. They go to Cancun. Porsha texts her family members and asks them not to talk about the fight on the show. And that was really strange and confusing to me because, Porsha, if you were the one who was victimized in all of this, why wouldn't you want to talk about it? Why would you not? No, let me rephrase that question. If you were the one that was victimized, why do you want to silence others? That's what I wanted to ask. Why did you want to silence others? This whole thing of Porsha having this much control over this group of people, I'm still not understanding how that could even happen. Simply because everybody was so scared to tell Porsha that Dennis was going to invite a girl over. Dennis should not have invited a girl to a family trip, especially, just some random that he picked up who knows where. He shouldn't have done that. But the fact that everybody was like scared to death that Porsha was going to find out that, oh, Dennis brought a girl to the resort, that was ridiculous and silly. Now, Porsha is controlling these grown adults, and some of them way older than her. She's controlling these grown adults into not talking about something that was on camera for the whole world to see. Why, Porsha? Why are you so mafia-like, with your family? And why do people just fall in line? Whatever Porsha says, we're going to follow. Whatever Porsha wants, we're going to give her. Why is that? So she texted her family telling them not to talk about what happened. And when I saw that, because it just put up a blurb on the screen saying that, family members told production that Porsha texted them and told them not to talk about the fight. It made me wonder, just for a split second, did Porsha really try to go after Mama Gina? Or did she actually lay hands on Mama Gina? And she doesn't know what people are going to say who probably witnessed this. And so she just wants to silence everybody. That's what I was thinking. So the next day, they're all supposed to go on this another meditation trip. So all the girls and Dom, they get on the bus, except for Storm. Storm wasn't feeling well, except for Storm. So they all get on the bus, and on the bus, there's this woman named Elle, who's another one of Lauren and Porsha's spiritual leader. I mean, these people have so many spiritual leaders, spiritual healers, meditation specialists. They are just so spiritualized out, just so zened out that, but they're still, throwing blows and having these huge family brawls. I'm not understanding. You have all of these tools to try to help you live a better, calmer life, a more productive life, but still we're having these fights break out like this. So anyways, moving on. So everybody's on the bus getting ready to go to this trip. To this meditation trip. In their confessionals, Lauren, Dom, and Londi, and Aunt Liz, they're all asked one at a time by the producers, is it true that Porsha asked them not to talk about the fight? Lauren said nothing, Dom said nothing, Londi said yes, and Aunt Liz said yes. Londi says yes, but we got to talk about the hard stuff. If we're ever going to get past all of this, we need to talk about the more difficult things. So we should have been talking about the fight. Aunt Liz says, yes, it's true. We were told not to talk about the fight. And she said that it would have been good to talk about the fight, especially on the bus, because they were all there together, especially with Elle, this new spiritual leader. What do they call her exactly? Life coach. Sorry, Elle is a life coach. That's another one. So, like I said, these people are so coached and spirited and healed, but they're still breaking out into stupid, silly, nonsensical fights. So they get to the meditation, and they're doing their whole meditation thing with the chakras and Lord knows what else. Everybody's trying to get all meditated. And Lauren had this confessional look. I've never seen Lauren look like this before. Lauren always looks a little bit, and I understand that compared to Porsha, Porsha probably has a glam squad that's constantly, primping her up every 5 minutes to make sure not a single hair is out of place. Whereas Lauren is more laid back, more down to earth, more natural. So usually we see Lauren in her natural hair or in faux locks or something like that. But there was this one confessional scene where she had on this wig, very like a bob almost. I think it was like a bob. She looked like a CEO. She looked like a business executive. She just looked so cleaned up and good. I couldn't believe that was Lauren. I mean, it was a really nice look for her. It was like very dolled up with the nice, really nice bob wig, I think it was, and the makeup and everything else. She did not look like Lauren at all. I was really shocked by that confessional scene. A confessional look. So they're doing all the meditating with this another spiritual healer, and after the meditation, Elle is talking to the group, and she gave them some really good advice. And I remember her saying that don't let the patterns of the past dictate the patterns of the future. If you're having an issue with someone, and don't shut the door on them. Don't be like, well, I'm not going to address anything with that person because I know what they're going to say already. I know how they're going to respond. I know how they're going to act. Don't do that. Always try to make amends. Always try to, heal a broken relationship. Don't assume that you know how someone is going to react. So I liked her advice a lot. I liked Elle's advice a lot. So the producer comes out while everyone is sitting around in this circle outside in the middle of this garden or something. The producer comes out, and the producer's like, how come no one is talking about what happened last night? If we're going to keep it real, we need to keep it all the way real. So we need to confront the issue because we have to have this resolved. So Aunt Liz says, because Aunt Liz, she don't give a damn. She's going to speak her damn mind. Aunt Liz says, well, I was told not to talk about it. And the producer asks her in front of the whole group, who told you that? And I don't think Aunt Liz answered. And then if she did, I missed it. So then Porsha I think the producer said something to Porsha about, if we're going to talk about the fight. I don't remember. But I remember Porsha looking at the producer and she's like, well, are we done with this scene? Can we wrap? And I guess the producer felt like it was a lost cause. And the producer was like, yeah, we can wrap the scene. So that scene was over. So later on, Porsha changes her mind, and now she wants to talk about the situation. She wants to talk about the fight. And no, she calls it the altercation. She wants to talk about the altercation. And I'm like, girl, that was beyond an altercation. Please don't minimize what happened. That was not an altercation. That was a full-on fight, brawl, blood was spilling everywhere. People, the elderly were getting knocked down. You picked up a huge piece of camera equipment and you were like swinging it around like, like some type of Amazon warrior. It was not an altercation. This was a full on fight, brawl. Okay. So they're having the white dinner and everybody looked nice. Everyone shows up in white. Of course, Dennis, his mom, they're not there. They're off in Cancun. Storm is not present because she's, I guess, tending to her lip. And Simon, in his confessional, they asked Simon like what he thought about all of this and if he was having second thoughts. No, I don't think they asked him if he was having second thoughts. I think they just asked him, his opinion on the whole fight. And he wasn't fazed at all. He was like, you know what? I've seen stuff worse than this in families. He says, I rate this as a 2 as far as, how crazy things can get in families. So he wasn't fazed at all. So at dinner, he gives his dad's, I call it like a dad speech, because it reminds me of how like a dad will talk. So he gives his dad speech about, I remember what he said, but it was something about coming together as a family and something positive. And so then Aunt Liz, she says at dinner, she says that we need to leave the past in the past. And what she's referring to is the whole thing of Dennis cheating should never have been brought up. So throughout this whole episode, you can clearly see that Aunt Liz is team Dennis all the way through and through. And as we know, one part of Porsha's family is more Team Simon, which is her mother's side, and one part of Porsha's family is more Team Dennis, which is her father's side. And of course, her mother's side is going to go with whatever Porsha wants, so that's why they're more Team Simon. So Aunt Liz is referring to how Dom should not have brought up Dennis cheating on Porsha. According to Aunt Liz, this is what started the whole melee. Now, Porsha says that at dinner, Porsha says that she's going to take responsibility for fueling the fire. She said that she should not have gotten those things. She should not have let those things about Dennis cheating and what happened back then. It should not have gotten her so riled up. She should have had more control over herself. So she does take responsibility for her part in this craziness. So that was the end of that. That was the last night in Cancun. Everybody's back to Atlanta. So 2 days after the trip and everybody's come back, Porsha's at her mother's house. She brings her mom some lemon pepper wings and they're sitting in her mother's bedroom. I think her mom has some kind of a back problem or something. So she was wearing like a back brace, I think. So, Porsha's telling her mom about what happened on the trip. Now, she kind of skews things just a little bit. And of course, because she's the one telling the story, she's going to tell it in the light most favorable to her. So she tells her mom about the trip. She says it all started off basically like Dennis asking Simon if he could have a girl come over to the resort. And Porsha saw that as Dennis trying to make her jealous. And, whatever, I guess, who cares? So then while they're talking, the lights go out. And when they're sitting there in the dark, Mama Diane is still eating her chicken wings. And Portia's like, you're still eating them wings in the dark? And she's like, yeah, I know where my mouth is. I know how to put my food in my mouth in the dark. So Porsha says that Dennis did not tell, so Portia's telling her mom that, when they were having dinner in Cancun or in Mexico, when they were having the dinner where the fight happened, she was telling her mom that Dennis had told Storm to shut the F up and he called her the B word. And that didn't happen because Bravo showed us, they ran the tape, and it clearly showed him saying, shut the F up, bro. He did not call her the B word. He called her bro. So according to Porsha, Dennis tried to grab her because he thought Porsha was coming for his mother. And that's her version. Now, it was hard to figure out because it was dark. It was a whole bunch of people. Who knows what happened? And I don't think we'll ever know. But so That's what Porsha says, that because Dennis thought she was coming for his mother, that's when he grabbed her. And they just, and Porsha says that the fight let her realize that things get out of hand like this because they don't deal with the real issue at hand. So the real issue at hand is that Porsha and Dennis, never really addressed the problems of their relationship and why they fell out and why things happened the way that they happened. All of that was constantly being brushed under the rug. And in one of Portia's confessionals, she does say that in her family, this is what they do. They just brush things under the rug. They don't address issues. They don't resolve conflict. They just ignore and move on. And while you're ignoring and moving on, the resentment, the anger, the sadness, all this stuff is constantly just building up, building up, building up. So hopefully this is teaching Porsha a lesson, to address things and not just brush things under the rug. And even if they're difficult, to still address them. And I think that's why she changed her mind about talking about the altercation, because she probably was like, you know what, we need to stop hiding, we need to stop ignoring, and we need to just, go full force ahead and talk about it. And maybe that's why she changed her mind about talking about the fight. So then Porsha goes off to meet with her Aunt Liz. And her Aunt Liz is like, she's taken over the Hosea Foundation. Hosea is Porsha's grandfather, who was a civil rights leader who worked very closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And when Martin Luther King Jr. died, her Hosea was trying to, I guess his name was Hosea Williams. I'm not sure. Her grandfather, after Martin Luther King died, her grandfather was trying to sort of kind of like figure out what his new venture was going to be, what was going to be his new cause. And so one day he saw a man eating out of the garbage can, and this man hadn't eaten in 3 days. So when her grandfather saw that, he decided to start this whole thing of trying to fight hunger. So her Aunt Liz, they have like this foundation where they try to feed the hungry. So they're in the building where the headquarters of the foundation, and Porsha brings her little girl there with her. Oh my God, PJ, she's too cute. So while they're talking, Aunt Liz is trying to get Porsha to realize, okay, you have this legacy behind you, which is your grandfather and all that he worked for, civil rights, fighting hunger. This you have all of this to carry forward, and the way you're going, sweetheart, this ain't it. No, you need to change, because you need an answer to your actions. People are looking up to you as an example. And Porsha was sort of kind of agreeing and sort of kind of not agreeing, because Porsha said that as long as people come after her family, she's gonna do something. She's gonna fight back. And Aunt Liz said the best way to fight violence is with nonviolence. And Porsha was like, well, I'm gonna pray on that. So it was kind of like she was like, Porsha, you're 40 years old now. You're 40 years old. You're a mother. You claim to be an activist. You want to help people. You want to reach out to people. Trying to attack your daughter's grandmother, allegedly. Trying to jump on old people. Trying to jump on whatever you're doing, whatever you did, girl, that stuff is over, gone, in the past. You cannot act like that. You have a very huge platform. And Aunt Liz was trying to tell her, you've got this huge platform that you can use to help people. And you can't be acting like this. And like I said, Porsha was sort of listening and agreeing, but kind of still like she's got to keep it real. If something comes after her, if someone comes after her family, she's always going to keep it real. And I'm like, no, no, Porsha, that's not it. You need to let that go. When the issue came up at the table and you saw Dennis was overreacting, and then Dom was overreacting, and then Storm was getting involved in it. Instead of you getting up and telling, oh, you and your sluts and your mother need to go. Instead of acting like that and inciting the situation, you should have been more of a leader and try to diffuse the situation. And either let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something more positive, because we're here for PJ. Don't forget about PJ. Or you could have just maybe excused yourself and be like, you know what, if y'all want to fight and brawl and catch fades, I'm out. And then you and your man could have gotten up and left. Instead of you trying to kick people out, yelling at. Anyways, moving on. So Aunt Liz is Team Dennis all the way. And she says that you need to like get rid of these people that are just going to bring you down. And she was referring to Dom and Storm. And I was surprised that Porsha kind of agreed with her on that, because I thought Porsha was going to say, Storm is my cousin. Dom is my friend, and they're not going. No. That's what I thought she was going to say. But she was kind of like, yeah, you're right. And she was saying, I need to tighten up my circle. And I was really surprised. And I wonder if she really meant Dom and Storm, or if is she meaning Dennis and his mother. But she was like, yeah, I need to tighten up my circle. I need to make my circle a little bit smaller. And Aunt Liz said, well, you know what? Simon also should have done more. And I was kind of like, no, you can't blame Simon for other people's actions. You can't blame him for other people's actions. Now, I really don't know, because it was just so much confusion. I don't know where Simon was when it got really, really bad. When that fight got really bad. But Porsha did defend her man, and she told Aunt Liz, well, he had his hand on Dennis's shoulder, and he was trying to calm Dennis down, and he was trying to like guide Dennis away. That was in the very beginning, right? And before the fight started, like, at the cusp of it. And then it got out of hand. And Simon had his hands full of Porsha, because he was trying to get Porsha. He was removing Porsha out of the way. So yeah, I think Simon was doing all that he could, because he was so busy trying to get Porsha away from this crowd. So I don't know what more he could have done other than that. So at the hot dog factory, Dennis is talking to his mother, and Dennis tells his mother, we can't be getting angry all the time at every little thing. And the mom says, well, it's not about getting angry. It's about respect. And I'm like, okay, to get respect, you also got to give it. We know that you don't really respect Porsha much. So it's a two-way street. Respect is a two-way street, Mama Gina. And so then Dennis says that Porsha was coming towards his mom. And that's why he reacted the way he did. I want to say that I kind of believe that, like I said, it's hard to say. I kind of believe that maybe Porsha, because she was so angry at the mother. And of course, and I feel like she was more angry at the mom than she was at Dennis, because of the fact that the mother, before they went to Mexico, the mother told Porsha, well, you were cheating too. Your mom told me that you were also being unfaithful. And I think that really, Porsha is not over that. That right there has been sitting in her heart heavy. And I think she found this melee was her opportunity to go for Mama Gina's throat. I really do think so. I think she saw an opening and she went for it, because she was still upset about Mama Gina trying to ruin her reputation, because all this time Porsha has been the victim of Dennis's infidelity. So when Mama Gina said what she said about Porsha also being unfaithful, it was kind of ruining her cover of her being this innocent pregnant woman whose man cheated on her while she was carrying his child. So that probably what's really got Porsha going. And maybe she was, I don't know. So I'm just alleging, I'm just speculating. I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't there. My TV, I couldn't see through bodies to figure out what was going on. But I don't think that Dennis is the kind of person who would have just attacked Porsha for no reason. And I don't know if he attacked her or how he put his hands on her. I don't know. I don't know if Porsha talked about that when she was telling her mom of what he did to her. I don't remember. So yeah, I don't know. But I feel like if he did reach out to Porsha, it was because he probably saw Porsha coming for his mother. And Porsha had all the anger and the motivation to go after Mama Gina. So I don't know. So now we are the day before PJ's surgery. We're back at Porsha's house. She's getting PJ's stuff ready, and Dennis is going to be dropping PJ over at her house. So they arrive, PJ and her dad, they arrive at Porsha's house. Porsha opens the door, and I don't know if anything happened after that, because that's where my recording ended. I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if he came in and they talked or what. I missed that whole last, I have no idea how long it was at the end. And I feel so bad that I missed it. But I'll see it next week. at the next episode. Yeah, so that's my review. Yeah, that's my review. I'm hoping that Porsha is learning to calm down and not to be so reactive, because in the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she had this same issue where she was chasing someone down the street, someone running after somebody down an alley at night. I don't remember exactly what the details of that situation was, but it was at some event. I think it was Candy's husband's birthday party, and someone was there that she didn't like, and they said something to her. Next thing you know, she's chasing them down the alley, chasing them down the street, wherever she was. I mean, you see her hot tailing it after this person. And then at the reunion, when she got into that altercation with Kenya, when Kenya had her bullhorn and was screaming in her face with the bullhorn, and Porsha reacted. So we understand that feeling of getting angry. We get it, but you can't be reacting on it all the time, and you can't let that guide you and direct your life. You need to like really put a lid on that. You know, when that demon wants to pop out and that demon wants to start, throwing fades and throwing bows and all of that, you need to contain it. So that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know, because you took this time to spend with me, and I appreciate it. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later.